It's funny, as we come up towards the very first year in charge of the United Kingdom, the current British Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, well, you could be thinking that he might be looking for a few chums, you know. It's not exactly gone swimmingly. Earlier this week, he's now literally fallen off the top of the perch and coming second, I believe it is, to, of course, a brand new party, the Reform UK party. But that isn't without its problems also. This isn't political, by the way, it's just the way that things absolutely evolve, you know, the sort of thing. But Sir Keir Starmer, you see, has a very rocky, well, situation developing with none other than the most important man, literally, some people will say, in the United Kingdom across the Commonwealth, His Majesty the King. As ever, let me explain. Morning chums, lovely to see you today, and I thought I'd picture myself behind these two beautiful baskets of flowers. I know you will know what they are. I just, as I've said to you before, I see them and I think the chums will like that. Looks nice, yes. I would love to grow a flower box, because I think at least don't laugh at me. Sorry, we haven't had a wave, have we? Don't laugh at me, but they're manageable, aren't they? The only thing I've ever been able to grow, do you remember at school when they sort of said to you, oh, you can try this and you can grow this at home? I think I've got some watercress going. You're sniggering now, aren't you? I can tell. Yeah. Watercress is very useful. Apparently it's full of vitamins. I know, I was never keen on it as a kid. What's the vegetable, let me ask you this, that you would eat now that you completely refused to eat when you were a child? I would say broccoli for me and green beans. Yeah, oh. Now, don't mind them, you know, have to be smothered in tomato sauce, but I don't mind them. Somebody else who might be smothered in tomato sauce if he goes out with the lack of security that is now his detail after being a disastrous Prime Minister over here in less than a year in the United Kingdom is this man, Sir Keir Starmer. And what's interesting about this story, let me tell you, is if you remember, this is the Prime Minister alongside many others of the ministers that really said, you know, we don't want the monarchy. Lisa Nandy, you know, as I told you, couldn't stand the monarchy, even went on television on a poll and said she couldn't stand it. But then when she's got all the freebies attached to being in government, oh no, she likes King Charles now. It's funny, isn't it? It's a little bit like, of course, Sir Keir Starmer, the flip-floppy man that can't stick to literally a single line. He said on record, literally being video, that he would prefer to be a republic. You know, we didn't need the British monarchy. And so consequently, the minute he was offered a Sir, guess what? Change of heart. And now wanted to be best chums with His Majesty the King. Well, I've been told from an excellent source that actually the friendship is a little bit of a frisson now, right? It's not as popular as it might have been at the beginning. And let's be honest, His Majesty the King, well, in my opinion, deserves a medal to be nice to someone who has openly said they want shots of you. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? But it already boils down to this particular incident. Remember, when Sir Keir Starmer was so desperate to be liked by Donald Trump, the President of the United States, well, he then offered the letter. And as I told you at the time, this literally is a protocol no-no, a royal protocol no-no. You do not present letters like that. And it wasn't the president's fault that he opened it. You know, he doesn't understand our royal protocol. And there it was. The letter was visually seen, you know, for the first time. And apparently this really upset and offended the king, simply because, you know, he thought that Keir would have known what to do better. Never underestimate these people, right, sir? But the true thing is, he did it because he wanted to make sure that he could get it on side. And as he lied, basically saying, oh, you know, yes, he loved Winston Churchill. Of course, President Trump had no idea that Keir had ripped down the portraits. So you can understand the double standards that he has. I've been told that the recent weekly audiences are not as familiar as they once were. And despite apparently Sir Keir, and as ever we have to say allegedly, apologising profusely, the damage is done. It's a little bit like bolted and horse, isn't it? Why would you do it in the first place? Or simply, why not check? But as ever with Keir, he thinks he can get out of it, well, by simply brushing it aside like it never happened. It's a bit like these three guys. Nobody truly knows the true story behind that. Well, they do, and the mainstream media do, but Keir's got his thumb screws on that too. It's a developing story, though. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.